And we're back for another episode of But Wait, There's More here at Silver Wolf Comics and Games in Morgan City, Louisiana. I'm Hans, this is Ray.
Hello.
And we will be regaling you with some more tales from our D&D group. Where we left off was they had just finished clearing a temple. Well, the temple was clear, but they had just finished exploring and nearly dying from traps.
Yes, we went through the entire building and made sure that all the traps worked. And yes, they did.
Yes, it was a good time. It was so much fun.
And of course, Caliban did find the one wench in the back room in the corner in the dark. And
well, if
I don't know what it is about that guy, really.
If anybody's gonna find some, he is. So they got back, and upon inspecting a ring, Ito gives the ring to Heldon, and Heldon becomes Heldena. Turns into a woman, if that wasn't clear enough, and very attractive young lady, not wearing hardly anything. Fergus did help preserve her modesty.
Well, it's the only thing you had to do. It's like when you've got a slave. Well, I mean, a captive of one of these people. You know, they're going to take all of their armor. They're going to take anything of any real import from them. And they might throw them some sort of a tunic, just something to really cover themselves. Well, this poor guy is running around in a loincloth. That's all he's wearing. And it ain't exactly clean either. Well, in the due process of time, when this ring does its thing and suddenly he is a she... And I mean, this is a real she. There's no games going on. It's a complete and utter transformation. He's still just wearing the loincloth. So needless to say, the great tracts of land were right out there. And, you know, naturally, the character and the player were a bit embarrassed. But luckily, we were in the bar.
Yes.
And in the bar, you see, that's one thing that Joe does is he keeps snacks on the bar. So I grabbed a couple of bowls of pretzels and dumped the pretzels out and just stuck them on there. And it was a perfect fit. It was like a vacuum seal, and boom, and they stayed.
What's funny about that situation is not once did he ask for clothes. There's other females in the group, and he just...
He was good.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm good.
Yeah. So he's running around in the Underdark in a loincloth and essentially coconut shells. And from there, they spend the night at Joe's, and they rest up because they've been through some stuff.
Yeah, you could say.
So they rest up so they can get their spells back. And in the morning, they wake up.
We wake up to an issue.
A very big issue. There is a horde of zombies outside.
Yes. Now, you see, the big issue with that is earlier, we had kind of cased the area. You know, you're going to find out where's the temple, where's this, where's that, where can we run to, where can we hide, where are the bad guys sleeping, etc. And the thing was, is there's one building on the map. I mean, Hans had everything laid out, where everything was in a grid. We could see where every building was. They were even numbered. And I don't think we ever checked building 4 or 7. We didn't check that building because it was this little pissant building. It's just like, what could possibly be in there? It was the crematorium. Because evidently the issue with this place is there's either some kind of a spell or a curse or just something to do with the flora and fauna of the area.
It was a curse.
Yeah. Well, the problem is anybody who dies down here doesn't stay dead long. And so they burn the bodies so they don't get up and follow them around, and we end up with a, you know, Farron's version of The Walking Dead Part 2.
Right, and it was one of those where it was a little minor challenge. If they go in and they ask what the crematorium's about, you know, and like, oh, we burn the dead here because the dead rise. Oh, well, crap.
What?
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you know, after they do any kind of slaughtering that they might do, which they did, if they had found that out, they could have taken the bodies to the crematorium. It would have been some work, but then you burn all the bodies and no issue.
But we just got done with a slave uprising. There's not 5 or 10 or a dozen bodies to deal with. There are probably hundreds of them lying around, either the slaves or the guards or Lord knows what. And there we are in the one building that is well defended. But it's like we're in an ocean of them. It's just,
Yeah.
how do we swim from here?
So, they're in Joe's bar, and they wake up and just head in, and Joe has everything barricaded. The doors are locked, the windows are shuttered, everything. He is on high alert. And if he were modern times in, one of these zombie shows that shall not be named because we don't want to be sued.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
He would probably have a shotgun and be posted up, ready to kill some zombies.
They're already dead.
Well, re-kill. Make them re-dead. Yeah.
And we're back.
Yeah. And so they wake up and they have this issue. Well, how do you get out? And they're looking around like, well, we could fart our way out. No, that's just...
Let's see. There's one of Fergus, and peek through the door, and it's like, all right. You peek through the peephole, and you've got 800 zombies staring back at you, and there's still only one of me. No, not gonna go that way.
So they ask Joe if there's another way out, and there is. There's multiple ways in and out. They're very well defended because Joe, being in the Underdark and being a human, he wants to feel very safe and secure. But there is a roof access, so they go up onto the roof, and they're up on the roof, and they look out, and there's a sea of zombies.
Lovely, great.
Scattered throughout the town, but there is a gathering around the tavern. And this is where Ito pulls out his trick from earlier in the Underdark, where he casts fly on himself, and people hop in a bag of holding and fly past the horde of zombies. Well, sorry, fly and invisible. The invisible part is very important. And get flown out past the zombies, get dropped off. He flies back, gets some more, flies over. And as a distraction, what they do is they have Turin, Ricky's ranger, run along the wall with his boots of spider climbing and start shooting at the zombies to get their attention. Now, there was a hiccup in this plan, not in the execution, but in the planning, because Turin was just, the wall's kind of close. You're looking at the map, and it's relatively close. He can probably get a running jump, and probably keep on running up the wall. But the new individual in the party, Helden, wants to cast Fly. Now, we're talking about a neutral character, true neutral, i.e. Turin's character, who does not know this new person from Adam or Eve. In this case, Eve. And and he had just seen this person put on a cursed ring that turned him into a woman. Now, if you're trying to role play, you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of your character. Imagine, if you will, watching somebody putting on a cursed ring, getting turned into a woman, and now that person wants to cast Fly on you.
You just pulled a boner like that, and you think you're going to cast a spell on me? You're out of your damn mind.
Yeah. And so there's kind of an argument phase where he's like, yeah, let me cast Fly, and Turin is saying, no, I got this, I can handle this, I've got these boots, I'm good, I'm good. He's like, no, no, and so finally, I had to turn to Matt and be like, look, just, he's got this, just cast Fly on yourself, and you can fly out of the chamber, and you'll be safe, and he'll catch up. So that happens, and they make it past the zombies.
Well, it was kind of tragic at one point. Evidently, some of Turin's previous fans were amongst the
dead.
Yes, the wandering masses, and there was some small spark of humanity, or race of choice. That one small spark where they could hear the the low sepulchral moan of "It was purple."
Yeah, that was me just having fun. So after he starts firing arrows into the crowd, I tell him, "You see the zombies turn towards you and look up and start chanting, 'It was purple. It was purple.'" And for those who either missed the episode or didn't remember it, he had a very resplendent suit of purple armor that got a lot of blood dumped on him, and at one point he yelled, "It was purple," and that became a chant that the gladiatorial crowd took up.
Terrible thing. It was kind of sad.
So some of his fans were part of the.
Yeah, one of his fans, a zombie waving a big foam finger.
have one of those arrow.
The rubber arrow through the head, or the drinking helmet.
Yeah.
It's like a Raiders game, but with dead people.
Wait, that's not the same thing.
Ooh.
Sorry.
He said it, not me.
Sorry to all you Raiders fans out there.
So that would be something. A bunch of people come in and Raiders. They're running, they're screaming.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Yeah. So they eventually make their way out of the chamber, but there are some stragglers that notice them because not everybody is invisible. At which point a chase ensues, and they're running through the Underdark and trying to get away from the following zombies. And I just wanted to give them a last farewell fight because they had a full rest. They had their entire complement of spells ready and waiting,
ready to fight, and no bandages. And the only problem is everyone else in our party at this point is either some variant of an elf or human or reptilian of some sort, and there is the dragonborn rather, yeah. And then there's only one person in the entire party who is of reduced stature. And so, needless to say, it has no bearing on the actual mechanics of the game. But it's the kind of thing where if you got any of the fans of the elves and dwarves and humans movies that they have out there, they always seem to make an issue of the dwarf running along way the hell behind everybody else, ready to have a heart attack because everybody else is just sprightly running along at 80 miles an hour. Meanwhile, the guy who's dressed like a refrigerator is just not keeping up. It's just terrible.
The only guy in full plate.
Yeah, only guy in full plate and no running shoes. Wait! Breathe! I need a beer. Breathe! But anyway, so eventually we start doing a bit of a dance trying to figure out which tunnel to take. Do we go this way? Because we're not really going back the way we came. It's similar, but yet an alternate route. And it's just, okay, well, because it's mostly find the surface. Because it's like, the surface would be good right about now. But it took us a bit of time to get down here in the first place. Mm-hmm. So we're dancing through tunnels left and right, and it's the typical thing, the 2/3 of the way through the zombie movies, the heroes are all like, oh crap, there's more of them, they run out, oh crap, more, and
they end up surrounded.
Then we were surrounded, and we're all like, great, now what?
Well, now the slaying commences, because zombies, the challenge rating for zombies is really low, and at this point, they're leveled
8, 9-ish.
8 or 9. And so zombies, they just kill in droves. And that's what, it's fun every now and then to feel all powerful, like, fireball.
Watch this, and kill 4 of them at one swing, or some such.
I just wanted to give them a parting fight. The zombies were basically a nuisance. It wasn't really challenging. It was just, cannon fodder. Yeah. Throw that out there. Let them kill stuff.
But sadly, the thing is we still, as a group, at least some of us, have a rampant case of paranoia when it comes to certain DMs. So it's just what's coming with them. It's like, we're going to be here long enough. How long before some other critter follows its nose here? So it's like, smack a zombie, watch the room. Smack another zombie. Watch the room. Because you're waiting for the big critter that's actually for the real fight to come along.
As
However,
it turns out, not the case. It was the High Priest of Loviatar did come back, but he was the only higher level thing. Everybody else was zombies, and he was more like a white
Revenant, some
yeah,
such.
Revenant. He's not of the Lich level. He's just
Thank goodness.
really vengeful. Well, like I said, I just wanted to make it a last entertaining
I was
fight.
going to say, you see, anybody who runs into a lich, they remember it. That's usually how the story starts. Hey, did I tell you about the time my entire team got wiped out in 5 seconds? We ran into a lich.
End of story. But as it was just like a few waves of zombies, slay them in droves, kill the undead priest, and then from there you make it back safely to Waterdeep, which they do. They get back easily enough after that fight, and now they're back in Fergus's hometown. Well, now
adopted
hometown because of Lithian, and so people go about doing their things. Lithian and the sisters, who they went down into the Underdark to get, as well as Fergus, go back to her home, and they have the whole reunion thing where they can sit and talk and find out what's been happening over the last decades of being apart. And then they get to mess with Fergus,
of course,
because inevitably the question is, you married a what?
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine your two drow sisters-in-law looking at their sister going, you married a dwarf.
You did what? You married a who? Him? What's so special about him? Well, it's like the last thing that I was going to do is walk into the room and start talking about my accomplishments. Because it's the kind of thing, it's like, okay, it's like Fergus dearly, truly loves his wife. He does. They've got history. It's got long... It's the kind of beautiful thing when best friends marry, that kind of thing. But now you've got the new element of the two in-laws that, well, they're really, truly strangers, even to their sister. And they just rolled up out of Mental Paranzan. So
and they don't quite understand.
Yeah, you can see that, needless to say, anybody who has any kind of concept about the drow will see that there are certain prejudices, preconceptions, etc. And it's just, Fergus is like, oh, great, here we go. And it's just, they need time to decompress before they can even begin to approach this. Because Lithian's already told them, it's like, well, I'm not going to change anything.
Yeah. So that whole thing's going on, and I like to think that Ray enjoyed this episode and the continuation of his backstory. And
it grows every day.
Yeah. Because it fed his creativity, and if you haven't noticed, Ray is fairly creative, and so I wanted to encourage and reward that with the...
And it's like, and I didn't die.
Yeah, he didn't die in his own side quest, so that's a plus. And the others, they got to have some fun going through the Underdark at lower levels, get a little taste of it. Some of the more veteran players were scared to death of the Underdark, and they're like, no, we're not going there. Like,
level 18, we'll go there.
Yeah, and I had to tell them, like, look, you're not going into Menzo Baranzan here. You just...
Yeah, we're not going to go pee in the fountain at Ched Nasad,
No.
It's like, we're not going to go there. And it's just like, this is dangerous place, but it's not the end of all time. We'll be fine. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's like a couple of folks haven't figured out that I'm not out to just kill them. Like, whatever I throw at them will be level appropriate, and they always have a chance. I'm not going to set something up that's completely impossible. You'll always have a chance of beating it. And so far, there's only been 2 characters that have died to this point in the story.
You see, he put that proviso on the end of that. It's like,
Got to keep them
we're
on
all
their
gonna
toes.
die, you know.
I don't want them to think that they're invincible, which they're not. I can kill them.
I'm invincible. You're a loony.
or the one from the James Bond movie. I'm invincible. Whoosh.
The
Anyway,
end.
back to the story. Waterdeep. The reunion.
Center of the world. Perfect place.
Yeah. And at this point, this was a side quest before they get into dealing with the big issue of the Cult of the Dragon. They've done the whole thing with the Horde of the Dragon Queen from the previous episodes, and they've been at it for so long. I wanted them to do something aside from just dragon stuff all the time.
A little bit of a break.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the same damn cultists over and over again.
Right.
It's time to. It's like go fight something different for a change. Go fight something that doesn't carry on with, oh, in the name of Tiamat. It gets old after a while.
Yeah. And for you DMs out there, if you have an ongoing campaign where your group is dealing with a certain villain or certain group for an extended period of time, consider trying to arrange a time where the villains are doing something else. They are plotting, they are planning, they are preparing something where there is, months or, like weeks or months where there's no word from them. Because villains have to take time to work and prepare also.
It's April. They got to do their taxes like everybody
else.
Yeah.
and now you can redirect them to go do something else. Have them chase some mythical treasure. Have them do, I don't know, be creative, but have them deal with something other than your main villain, because you don't want them to just feel like it's a constant slog and it's the same thing over and over, where they can never get to this villain and it's constant. Having side quests really helps break up any kind of monotony that might be building up.
Yeah, because it was with us a few episodes past. It was a long period of time where we were tracking one particular group, and the problem of dealing with this one particular group in close quarters with only X number of people around is trying not to be discovered. Now, the problem is, if you lose these guys, the deal's blown. You're not going to be able to pick the trail up. You're going to have to start all over again. And at the same time, if these guys figure out that you're the ones following them, they might either attack you, they might disappear, or they might lead you astray or into an ambush. So there's this constant worry in the back of your mind. It's like, what are we going to do today to give ourselves away?
Yeah. So, for you DMs out there that are watching, keep that in mind. Try and change things up. Try and keep things fresh. Still work on the main campaign, obviously, but every now and then give them something else to do.
Arts and crafts.
We'll clue you into the arts and crafts later. That's a different episode, a little ways down the road. But when we do get to it, it's a really good idea of how to make things more cinematic and interactive, of basically using your creative nature to bring the story more to life by using different kinds of props.
We'll show you when we get there.
Yeah, we put some serious work into it, and we're still working on it to this day.
It's an effort. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, so still in Waterdeep. Now they have to meet with the council that we mentioned a couple episodes back. The council is there to be the leaders trying to figure out how to deal with this big looming threat of the Cult of the Dragon trying to summon Tiamat back into the realm.
Yeah, of course the problem is up to this point we've been pretty much operating on our own with something of an assist from the Harpers.
Mm-hmm.
For information's sake and so on. But Fergus's wife, Lithian, she's been in the Harpers for quite some time, and a lot of her contacts are far and away more higher and wider reaching than the usual. So once word starts to get around, you get stopped in the street by a page who is going to say, your presence is required up at the castle. So, you're wondering, well, what the hell is this? What have we done now?
Yeah.
So now we go up to the castle, and it's like, oh, look, it's the people who run things.
Yeah, people that
Yeah.
they wouldn't normally see, but because they've done such good work, um, the lords of Waterdeep, who are usually very mysterious and shadowy, and people don't always know who the lords are, have requested their presence, and they actually meet these people to discuss what needs to go about for taking care of the cultists. Now they get commissioned, and in fact they get commissioned even before they go on the quest because they have to wait for information. So when they get back to Waterdeep from the Underdark, now the information is ready. And they have a new objective. And the Lords of Waterdeep send them forth to the north into the Sea of Moving Ice. They have a boat ready for them. They give them like essentially carte blanche. Like, here, go buy winter clothing. You're going to need it, and go take care of this white dragon and find out what information you can get on the Drackhorn. It's a horn that essentially summons chromatic dragons, the evil dragons. Because the last intel that they had was that this horn was in the Sea of Moving Ice with this said white dragon. Now, to this point, Matt's character Helden, or Heldena, has not been with the group. No, she came back with them from the Underdark, but her character is not known, or that character is not known to the Lords of Waterdeep. It's a brand new character, and so she is not with the group in all of this. Doesn't have the resources. Has not been commissioned. None of that. This is important because she doesn't have access to winter clothing. No. Yes.
It's cold out there.
Now, so we're playing, and the group gets the commission, and Matt's character is trying to reapply, I guess you could say, to his old spy organization. Now, if you remember, Matt's character was a spy, but as part of his story as to why he was in the Underdark, he was sent there to spy on this city, but he got caught, and because of that, he was disavowed and was burned from his old organization. Psst. No acronym, just psst.
How many S's in that?
I have no idea. He didn't tell me.
But
so now that he's a woman, but with the same name, just with an A at the end, he wants to go back to his spy organization and try and get back in. So he goes, and I let him make his rolls, and he rolls really high because his charisma is really high. However, the issue is that being a spy organization is well equipped, and they have ways of detecting truths and untruths, and when you roll up in there, you're essentially the same person, just as a woman. People that are very skilled at spycraft will realize that something's going wrong. They can tell that you're wearing a magical item, and they can probably tell that it's a cursed item. So they can make a logical...
Was he actually trying to pass himself off as his own sister?
I couldn't...
Because honestly, it was
been a while.
It was quick, and honestly, we're talking a few months ago. At this point, we are gradually catching up as we go along, but sometimes the facts do escape us. So, I mean, hopefully along the way people will write in and correct us if we goof somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
But it's not intentional. I mean, trying to bend we're not trying to bend facts to make things funnier, because sometimes it pretty much does it on its own.
Yeah. Either way, the spy organization is like, look, we know who you are. We know that you're cursed. And no, you're not going to get back with us because you were burned and we're being nice just talking to you now. Here's a business card. Go talk to these people. Now, this business card is for the FBI, the Faerun Bureau of Investigation. Now, as this was Ray's idea, I'll let him explain where this came from, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yes, it was purely by chance, actually, because we're discussing. It's like, okay, now we're dealing with. He's going to have a character. His character has been burned. They've disassociated themselves from him completely, because the last thing they want is for him to traipse his way home, or send messages where the next thing you know, it's like vengeful people come and try and do terrible things to them. So they kind of pawn him off, and it's just that usually, I mean, Waterdeep has quite a few different organizations floating around. Some on the docks, some uptown, some downtown. There's a lot of spies floating around. But most of the ones that are of a mind to work with his character have all heard. Most of the ones that are friendly with one another have heard. It's like word travels quickly. It's like, oh yeah, no, we don't want anything to do with him. If they got rid of him, well, we don't want him, because word's going to get around. Well, eventually he ends up with this business card. He does go to this particular place. Now, where the name came from, it was in this store, as a matter of fact. We're standing there having a conversation, and I forget who it was, but there was another customer in the place. And it's like, okay, so this guy got burned by, some spy organization boots you out. And this guy chimed in, well, yeah, but every time you see that happen on TV or whatnot, the guy always has that one old friend from the FBI or something like that. And he said, FBI. And it just landed on me. It's like, Faerun Bureau of Investigation. We have to do this. And it's just like, wait, let's make them gnomes.
Yeah, and my idea, my addition to it was, it's run by gnomes. Because gnomes are funny.
Yeah.
I like playing a gnome. The fast talk and just the silliness of it. I enjoy playing gnomes and then having them as NPCs, because it's my way of adding silliness to this. So it's not so grim and dark and like everything's...
We're not sitting in the throne room with the Emperor all day long and Darth Vader standing in the corner. It's just like it brightens it up. It really does, because honestly, I would really think that hanging around or just being able to sit anywhere, a workplace, an office full of gnomes would be absolutely hilarious. Because I mean, it's a mixture of just frenetic energy and insanity. But it's just the beautiful part is that they mean so well. Yeah. But it's just they talk so damn fast, nobody knows what they're doing.
And their ideas just build on each other. They'll have a great idea, and then that idea by itself would be great, but then they want to add to it.
Yes.
And and so, mind you, at this point, he is still in his loincloth and coconuts, and he goes to this place. And he knocks on the door, and a little viewing thing, gnome height, opens up and looks at him.
But it's about belt buckle high for everybody else.
Yeah, and hi, how can I help you? What are you here for? And it's like and he bend down. Sent me here. Said you might be interested in hiring me. Like. Oh, sent you? Oh, that's great. Okay, let me talk to the boss, and I'll let you right in just 1 second. I'll be right back. And eventually he gets let in, and this was another case of needing to role play.
Because honestly, thinking on it now, the easiest way would be, as soon as you hear the slat in the door open, is just press the breasts up against the slot and say, "I'm looking for a job," and that would have been it. He would have been in.
Yeah. So he gets let in by this little female gnome, and he gets brought to the waiting area, and everything is gnome size. He can walk in, but his head's nearly scraping the ceiling.
He's got to walk around the light fixture.
Yeah, kind of like Gandalf in the
Hobbit,
and the Lord of the Rings. Where he's always fighting with that chandelier. So the little female gnome secretary goes and gets the boss, and all he had to say was that he was looking for a job and kind of flirt with the gnome, because the gnome I tried to make it real easy, because he's a very pretty woman at this point, and all he had to do was flirt a little bit with the gnome, and he would be in, because the guy is, I don't want to say a horn dog, but he came on to Matt's character pretty hard, and I figured it would be the simplest way. Like,
I've always wanted to work with gnomes.
Yeah, give him a little wink, like a little giggle, like, I've always wanted to work with gnomes. And then you just roll a d20 and oh, I scored a 15. He's got a plus 12. All he had to do was roll a 3, and you're in, because
you get a grin out of the boss, you're halfway there.
Yeah, but I guess he just wasn't ready for that, and
well, in the process of pulling a few teeth, he does get the job.
Yeah, and so it like Ray said, some teeth pulling, he gets the job, and now he's working for the FBI, run by gnomes, and he is given a tome, not a manual, a tome. That is their secret manual that is written in High Gnomish. He doesn't understand High Gnomish, and there is another caveat to it that he has to figure out as a player. It's not one of those. If y'all haven't noticed, I kind of like to do things where you don't just have to roll for it. Like, you have to actually play act or figure something out on your own. Because it's, you can get lucky and roll a 20 and it just happens. That's okay, that's fine for combat and some other things, but it's a role-playing game. I want you to role-play and think for yourself as a character.
Yes, it's for one particular instance where my character had to create a diversion because there was a dead body in plain sight in broad daylight. I had to jump up, and considering he has a certain number of plants around the store, I had to run over, and I was pretty much fighting with a small fur that he has over there by the washroom. And needless to say, everybody between me and said potted plant were frightened out of their mind as this 300-pound maniac goes running through the room. Look, I need a plant to fight with. Get out of my way. And, well, it makes things easier. Yeah. Because everybody's sitting there going, look at this daft idiot fight with the tree.
Yeah, and again, he role-played it, and so it was just, I said, yeah, you have people's attention because you are causing a ruckus. Well, in this case, the manual not only was written in High Gnomish, you had to look at it in a mirror to be able to understand it. And so now he is in a loincloth with coconuts, carrying around a tome that he is still that he had to figure out.
Giant iron-bound book. Isn't that one that they all had to sign at Hogwarts? It's like 4 foot square and a foot thick. It's like, here's your manual. It transforms into a boat.
Good luck. So that happened, and then after that, he goes and meets the party at the docks, because the party is now in a rush. They have to have this mission to do. And
just trying to keep up. We want to sail with the tide.
Yeah.
And it's just, look, we had to go do this, we had to get this, we had to provision, we had to find a captain willing to go. Well, I mean,
the captain
was willing, but it's just, okay, it's what information you want to share. What did they tell him? What do we want to tell him? Is there some things that he doesn't need to know? And in the process of all of this, here comes Coconut Girl. Hi, guys. It's like,
Can I go with you?
it's like, hello.
And
You're gonna need more than those coconuts, darling.
yeah, and we have an individual, another customer who DMs for one of my other groups, come up to him like, hey, are you with the Harpers? It's like, no. Do you have access to any of their stuff? Well, no. Well, you might want to go shopping or find somebody that, buy you some winter clothes, because you're going up to someplace very cold. It's called the Sea of Moving Ice.
Ice,
Ice.
baby.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Lord, I apologize.
And so eventually, Muriel, Matt's mother's character, goes and buys him some clothes so she doesn't freeze herself going up there. And
Although, come to think of it, it does explain something. It explains how tropical fruit can end up in a temperate zone.
think about
Think
that.
about that.
Um,
That just occurred to me.
GG, Monty Python. And so that they get him some clothes and they set sail. Now, but wait, as ever, there is more, and we will cover that in the next episode. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please hit share, like, subscribe. Get the word out there. The more interaction we get with the channel, the better for us it'll be, and the better we can make it.
We might actually be able to hire a cameraman.
Or a better camera. One of the two.
One of the two.
Ooh. And if you want to find out more about Silver Wolf Comics and Games, we'll have our social media information in the description below. And as ever, thank you for watching, and we hope you have a good night.
Bye.